In the previous video sessions, we already have discussed few equations regarding EMF developed due to motion of a rod and due to rotation of the rod. We will use those formulas and we will solve few problems in this video session. Coming to this problem, a pair of parallel horizontal conducting rails of negligible resistance shorted at one end is fixed on the table. The distance between R can slide on the rails frictionlessly. The rod is tied to a massless string which passes over a pulley fixed to the edge of the table. A mass M tied to the other end of the string hangs vertically. A constant magnetic field B exists perpendicular to the table. If the system is released from the rest, calculate terminal velocity achieved by the rod and acceleration of the mass at the instant when the velocity of rod is half the terminal velocity. So you are now supposed to calculate that. So what we need to do here is, first I'll explain the procedure. See, this is a rod. This is rod. And these are rails. And here is pulley. And this rod is attached with a string, and that string is attached with mass, and there is gravitational force acting on this mass in downward direction. So when this mass is been coming downward, when the mass comes down, the rod will be moving over there. Because of that moving rod, there will be EMF induced in the rod. So as rod moves with velocity, EMF is induced, resulting in current. This is point number 1. Now such current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field. As it is placed in magnetic field, it experiences a force which is equal to BI into L, where L is length of the rod, I is induced current, B is magnetic field, and this I is equal to EMF divided by resistance R. Now, in order to find out equation for terminal velocity is that when F net is equal to 0, acceleration will be equal to 0. Such velocity is said to be as terminal velocity. Now, clearly you can understand that there is gravitational force component, which is tension. Here there is downward force and there will be tension, and that tension will be pulling the rod right side. And there is a magnetic force which balances that. Left side there is magnetic force. When these two forces become equal, the rod will be sliding with constant velocity. So I will now use that concept and I'll find out terminal velocity over there. So simply you can write magnetic force magnitude should be equal to tension in the string. Okay, magnetic force can be written as B into I is equal to EMF divided by resistance R into L is length of the conductor. That should be equal to tension in the string, and tension in the string will be equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity. What is EMF induced? EMF induced can be written as EMF induced is delta pi divided by delta T. Delta pi is B dot A, that is B into L into V divided by R. So therefore it is B square L square into Vt divided by R is equal to mg. From here you can write equation for terminal velocity as mg capital R divided by B square into L square. This is equation for terminal velocity. So it is mgr divided by B square into L square. This is equation for terminal velocity. Let me take this as equation number 1. Now in the second question, what he is asking is the acceleration of the mass at the instant when the velocity of the rod is half of the terminal velocity. Now clearly you can understand that when the velocity of the rod is half of the terminal velocity, if when velocity of the rod is equal to half of the terminal velocity, magnetic force is not equal to gravitational force. Both are not equal. Gravitational force magnitude will be greater than that of electrostatic, than that of this magnetic force. So simply I can write F net is equal to mg minus Fm, where m is magnetic force. G is acceleration due to gravity. Magnetic force equation we have got it. It is B square L square Vt divided by R, that you need to substitute here. So as we have learnt, V is equal to Vt divided by 2. Then magnetic force will be equal to B square L square Vt is equal to, like, velocity here will be Vt divided by 2 into R. This is equation for magnetic force. Let me take this as equation 1. F net will be equal to mg minus Fm. But what is F net? F net is equal to m into acceleration A, which is equal to magnetic mg minus Fm. So this will be B square L square Vt divided by 2R. This is equation for, you are supposed to calculate only acceleration of the mass. So this is equation. Both are not balanced. So gravitational force minus magnetic force which is acting over there, I have just substituted here. Now acceleration A will be equal to G minus B square L square Vt divided by 2mr. This is equation for acceleration of the rod when the rod is having velocity equal to half of the terminal velocity of. Students, there is a circuit here where you have got some resistance 8 ohm, and the resistance of this total loop is 4 ohm, and current in the circuit is 2 ampere. AB length and AD length is also given. It is 30 centimeter. Now you are supposed to find out velocity V. So whenever when the whole coil is moving with velocity V, there will be some EMF induced. So what is equation for EMF induced? EMF induced, it is motional EMF. So EMF induced will be B I L into sine theta. Okay. Here angle mentioned, L is length of the conductor, that L is L and B both are inclined by an angle of 37 degrees. So I can just write this as B into I into length of the conductor is AD into angle here is sine 37. B sorry. It's not BIL, it's BLV. This is V, I'm sorry. This is BLV. Here, instead of I, you need to write it as V. So it is BV into AD sine 37. That gives you EMF will be, B is magnetic field, it's mentioned as 4 Tesla. V is velocity, you should calculate it. AD is length 30 centimeter, that is 0.3 meter, into sine 37, it is 3 by 5. This is EMF induced. Okay. Now, when this is moving with velocity V, here current will be passing through the circuit. I can just write current I is equal to V divided by R. V is equal to EMF induced divided by resistance R. So this gives you R is the effective resistance. Let me take this as equation number 1 and this as equation number 2. You need to find out overall resistance. See, 8 ohm is the resistance which is connected external, and the loop is also having some resistance 4 ohm. Therefore, R net will be equal to both 4 ohm and 8 ohm, both are connected in series. So it will be 4 ohm plus 8 ohm, which is equal to 12 ohm. 4 ohm plus 8 ohm, which is 12 ohm, that is net resistance that I need to substitute here. So I will be equal to, I is 2 ampere, which is equal to EMF induced is 4 into 0.9 in divided by 5 into V divided by resistance is 12 ohm. So this gives you 12 into 2 divided by 4 into 0.9 into 5 is equal to V. This gives you final velocity. It's not terminal velocity. This gives you velocity V, which is nearly equal to 100 divided by 3 meter per second. Students, we already have learned that whenever there is a coil of length L, it produces some EMF, and that will be equal to BLV, where L is length of the conductor, V is velocity of the conductor. So it is just a wire. You are just taking a wire and that wire is moving with some particular velocity, so that you will be calculating EMF induced. What happens if this is not a wire? If you replace this wire with a square lamina, what happens if you are introducing, instead of wire, if you are taking a square lamina, and if you move that square lamina in external magnetic field, what would happen? Obviously, whenever you are taking a conductor and if you are relatively moving that conductor in external magnetic field, definitely it induces some EMF. Here also, instead of wire, if you are taking a square lamina, definitely there will be EMF induced, and that EMF will produce some current in the loop, not loop actually, in the square lamina, and that current is said to be eddy current. And eddy currents are produced when large bulk pieces, of conductors are moving in field. So when bulk pieces of conductors are moving in external magnetic field, then they will induce some eddy currents, which I will be showing you Now in this animation, you can clearly see that in the animation. See, you are taking a square lamina. It's not a wire. It is a plate-like structure. It is a lamina. That lamina is moving in between the north and south poles of the horseshoe magnet. It is a horseshoe magnet, and in that horseshoe magnet, the lamina is moving horizontally. Because of motion of that lamina, clearly you can understand that the EMF is induced, resulting in eddy currents, and those eddy currents are not in particular direction. The electrons can move randomly on the surface of that conductor because it is not a wire, it is just a plate. Upon that plate, electrons can move randomly in any possible direction. Because of that random motion of electrons, eddy currents are introduced. And what does these eddy currents do? Eddy currents will generate more heat energy in that lamina. Now, usually, if a wire is taken and if that wire is moving, in that wire, electrons are forced to move only in one particular direction, which results in some heat energy. Definitely, there comes some heat energy. But here, the heat energy produced is much greater because electrons are able to move randomly in any direction, which we generally call them as eddies. Due to such eddies, the EMF is being induced within the conductor. So these eddy currents will heat the coil. The total lamina will be heated due to such eddy currents. Likewise, this is called motional pendulum. Now let me take this. This is a lamina. This is lamina. It is a lamina. This lamina is moving in the external magnetic field. This lamina is moving in external magnetic field. Because of that external magnetic field, what would happen? There will be eddies produced within this lamina. As a result, it oscillates for some time, and those oscillations amplitude get decreased with respect to time periodically, and finally it will come to rest position. So that is motional EMF pendulum, which is one application of eddy currents. Yeah, we have learned that eddy currents are unwanted currents. They are unwanted currents. They generate more heat. So whenever we require to heat the substance, then definitely we will be producing more eddy currents. But unnecessarily, if we don't want eddy currents to be produced, you need to minimize them, right? So minimizing eddy currents. You can minimize eddy currents by decreasing the area of that particular conductor. So how I'll explain it? See here. This is what we have a conductor, and this is a square loop, right? Okay. As we have square loop here, the current within this can move in any possible direction, right? So like this, currents are produced in random direction, and that is, they are called eddies, and within this there are random currents developed. Such currents are called eddy currents. Now as the area is being extended, throughout that area there will be eddy currents produced. Now what we need to do is, you need to decrease the area, so that what would happen now, I am just decreasing the area, just like how I have done here. decrease area. What I do, I'll just cut this in the form of a fork. Now the eddies which are produced, they are able to move only here. Within this, they are able to move within this, 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 they are able to move. Instead of moving randomly throughout the area, they are restricted to move only in specific portion of the conductor. Therefore, we can just reduce eddy currents by making such laminated sheets. Likewise, in case of like this is one laminated sheet. Instead of taking one cubical structure, what we will do, we will be cutting that into as many parts as possible, and each part is being added over here. See, this is one part, another part, another part, another part, another part. So what we will do to decrease the eddy currents magnitude, we will be taking such laminated sheets and we will join them. And this is very useful in constructing a transformer, right? Similarly, you can see here, this is a fork like structure, and this is able to move randomly within this. As a result, the damping is decreased. Damping decreases because the eddy currents which are produced in this case, its magnitude is greater than the eddy currents which are produced in the second case. So therefore, you need to minimize eddy currents just by minimizing the area of cross section of that particular conductor as shown in this figure. Students, as every phenomenon has both advantages and as well as disadvantages, eddy currents also have advantages and as well as disadvantages. You can see in the animation there, whenever you want to heat a metal, like see, you are taking a laminated rod there, and you are providing some current to that, and you are taking one metal sheet and you are inserting that metal in that laminated heater. As a result, it is getting red hot and it is able to melt. Finally, it falls down. So you can melt very high melting. You can achieve temperatures up to some thousands of degrees Celsius using eddy currents. That's one advantage. And eddy currents are used in magnetic braking in trains, and eddy currents are used in electromagnetic damping and induction furnace and electric power meters. So these are the simple examples where this is example of induction furnace. This is example of induction furnace where induction cookers work with the same principle. And generally, to melt gold, in all jewelry shops, you will be having such type of instruments where very high temperatures are being used within short interval of time, which are used to melt the gold. So that is induction furnace. And next, magnetic braking. This is magnetic braking. You are taking a disc, and this disc is rotated in external magnetic field. See, this is disc, and disc is rotated in external magnetic field. This is magnetic field. It is north pole and it is south pole. So whenever the disc is being rotated, see, eddy currents are produced here, and these eddy currents, so when we are allowing current to pass through them, the eddy currents are being produced over here. Because of those eddy currents, the motion of disc is opposed. So as motion of the disc is being opposed over there, the disc comes to rest position. So this is magnetic braking. Same principle is used in braking system of trains and bullet trains. In those trains, these magnetic braking systems are being used. And next, this is electromagnetic damping. Electromagnetic damping is that, as I already told you, see, this is a simple pendulum where eddy currents are greater in this magnet. But what we are doing, we are just cutting them into pieces. We are just decreasing the area of cross section. It can move so that the damping magnitude decreases. So whenever damping you need to increase, you will just increase the area of cross section. So it is one more usefulness of the eddy currents. And the other one is electric power meters. So in electric power meters, usually now of course electric power meters are being replaced with digital power meters. But in olden days, we used to have these kind of meters. So there will be a disc. This is disc and this is aluminum disc. And this aluminum disc used to rotate depending upon how much amount of current is passing through that particular disc. And here is voltage coil, and here is copper shading ring, and these are current coils. Current is able to pass through them, and this is north pole and it is south pole. How much amount of current pass through the disc, based upon that it will be rotated. More is the rotation, more is the amount of energy utilized in your home. Less is the disc rotation, less is the amount of energy which is being consumed in your home. So this is one more application of eddy currents. So electric measurement of electrical energy in electric meter is one of the application of eddy currents.